All right. Welcome back. It's COMP397 in the winter 2018 semester, and we are week 11, part 1. And it's a very, very icy day today, and we've canceled our classes physically. But I still need to go over a couple of things with the guys and girls in class, and a couple of things I want to cover today before we finish off are a couple of requirements, and as well as the lab that I had planned for today, which we can't physically be in class to do together. I know there's also a potential game jam that's going on right now. If it's still going on, I'm not sure, but I know that most classes or all classes at Centennial are canceled today. So let's talk about the playtesting lab. So I've posted a new playtesting lab up on eCentennial. I was going to make it worth a requirement and worth, let's say some marks. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a bonus. Okay, so this is great. What we normally do is we have you play test your game and have other people play test your game. And that means other teams and so on. And today what I'm going to ask you to do is if you can have your play test results done by next week on Friday, and this is just before we get together on Saturday, that would be great. Obviously, the sooner the better, so you can act on the play test results. They were supposed to be for today, right? So you're supposed to play test other people's games, get some feedback, do any kind of final touches you want to do before next week's final release and presentation. So I want to kind of go over those things with you, before next week, so you know what's being expected of you. I will share this video both on Slack and on eCentennial. I'll make sure everyone's there and gets it. So here's a couple things. So one, this is a bonus lab, all right? So it's going to be worth 1% bonus. It's due week 12, Friday, April 20th, but I recommend you get it done faster. I want you to use the attached playtesting worksheet to obtain feedback from your game, send, or somehow give the playtesters that are working with, that are going to play your game. And it could be anybody. Playtesters could be people that are friends of yours, or if you have time to give it to some classmates or family members or whatever, and have them play the game and give you some feedback. Ask the playtesters to play your game, fill out the worksheets. And then what you want to do is collect a bunch of worksheets from the testers and then fill out the results spreadsheet and hand that in. So all I'm looking for is one results spreadsheet completed per group and handed in. So let's take a look at what these things are. So first of all, let's take a look at the playtesting worksheet that I provided for you. Actually, I already have it downloaded. So here's what it looks like. And you may have seen something like this before. I'm just going to pull it over here. I know that I've got a bigger resolution than normal because I'm on my home monitor. So you may see it quite small. But if you zoom in here, you'll see what I'm looking for. So there's some demographic information. So this part here, this whole first part is all demographic information about users that are filling out your feedback. So things like the tester's age, their school program of study, if they go to any school. Again, it could be anybody that you get to test your game. Email address, and if they're willing to to get contacted by you in the future. Again, this is great for game user research. And of course, on a scale of 1 to 5, where 5 is very experienced, 15 plus years, where do they score in terms of video game playing experience? And that would be very relevant, so that you can give, you can understand where they sit. Obviously, you're going to get different feedback from people who've never played games before, or who played only a very few games, let's say for a rating of 1, to more experienced players. It might give you different kinds of feedback and respond differently to your game. The other thing is get them to circle some types of games. I don't think this covers everything, but most of the games that we care about are kind of here. I didn't put in, I'm not sure if I put in serious games, but games for education and so on. But, and there's some other ones, for example, platformers and that kind of stuff. I haven't listed those things here. I mean, I guess we could have put other, but just get them to circle which games they like to play. And then this is the important part for me, the challenge rating. So get them to rate your game in terms of challenge. Is the game too easy or too hard? And the real question is, does the game provide an appropriate level of challenge? So you don't want them to, to say 1 is not easy and 5 is hard. It's more like, hey, is this challenging enough? And if it's the right level of challenge, then you'll get higher marks here. And then gameplay/controls rating. How does the controls work? Do there? Is the game easy to play in terms of I can move around, or my control scheme works for the game is really what I'm looking for, right? So that's again 1 to 5. Mechanics rating. Can I learn the rules quickly? or fairly reasonably? Is there some kind of tutorial screens or tutorialization that's built into the game? 1 to 5. Dynamics rating. Can I use the rules to be strategic in winning the game, right? Is there such a thing? And then again, 1 to 5 for that one. User interface rating. So when I look at the user interface in terms of things like feedback, for example, do I see a score? Do I see health? Do I see a health bar? Do I get feedback from when I play in any other way? Sounds, that kind of stuff that I'm getting back, so that I know that the interface, the way I'm playing the game, it gives me feedback. Game visual appeal and feedback also is another place where does the game provide appropriate feedback, both visual and auditory? Is the game visual appealing? Is it nice to look at? Objects, textures, particles, whatever you're going to use. Is the game fun? I mean, this is kind of maybe the most important question, because you can do all this other stuff, but if the game isn't fun, then it's not really a great game. And then, so they filled this out. Each user who plays your game, not a group, each user. So you get a person to play the game. They play it and they provide feedback to you. What was your favorite moments in the game? What would you change about the game? Do you have any other feedback for the designer and any other comments? This is an optional section if they want to fill it out. So each person provides this sheet, and again, you could give this sheet to them via email or some kind of messaging format or whatever. They'll fill it out and send it back to you, and you can collect these sheets. And then what you want to do is you want to collate the data. Now, this is not that difficult. When I say collate data, it's not really true data analysis. But what I'm looking for here is a very simple spreadsheet that I'm looking to fill out. I've already kind of given some example numbers. So imagine if you have some user responses, and I have some challenge rating, and people played your game. And let's say these 3 users as an example, and maybe this would already be filled out in terms of demographic information. If you care to put it in, I recommend it from a data gathering perspective. And then you can look, there's another sheet down here, and it's the results sheet. And you can kind of look in terms of how your game is played. And you can see that the challenge rating in this game, if this was a real game, would be the area of concern. Maybe it's too easy or maybe it's too hard, but again, the challenge rating is the lowest point. The great thing about this little spreadsheet that I put together, like all little spreadsheets like this, is they're easy to put together and easy to modify. So let's say if I change my challenge rating to a 2 here, and you can see that the results of the chart would also slip down much lower. And that it gives you kind of a dynamic look at how your game is being played. And this works on an averages. So an example is if I put more results, then it'll average out the results and give you kind of an average indicator of how things are going. Okay, so that's really the spreadsheet. I want you guys to fill this out as a team. So your team should fill it out, not individuals. And then what you're going to do is you're going to submit this thing on eCentennial. You're going to submit it for a bonus mark. That means it counts outside of the regular 100%. If you guys use this and you submit it by next Friday, then your team gets an extra bonus 1%. I think this is good. Some teams need it. Especially with some of the stuff that I've seen lately. Again, this is due next Friday, and next week on Saturday is your actual game pitch. Okay, your actual game pitch. So that's this. We just talked about the Lab 4 playtest that I was going to do with you guys today in class that unfortunately we don't have a chance to do today because of the weather, which is again pretty weird for April. Okay, so that's cool. Now let's take a look at what other things are required. So let's take a look at our Dropbox. You can see that there is a final release that's due next week on the 21st. At the same time, you've been asked to do a presentation. So let's take a look at this presentation. So it's actually written right here inside of the Dropbox details, right? So you can see that the presentation is due next week, week 12. That's Saturday, April 21st. That's when it's due. So your final presentation must contain the following: a title page containing a team logo and a screenshot of your game. And you kind of done this already when you did your game pitch. So it's nothing different than what you've already kind of done, which is good. And an overview slide, which will summarize what your game is about and how you came up with your game idea. A planning slide, an instruction slide, and so on. And then you'll demonstrate the game. And then you can come back and talk about your lessons learned and future possibilities. And this is all the stuff that you've already done before. And I'm looking for a PowerPoint presentation that you're going to hand in for the final. Okay, so one of the things I don't want is is for you guys just to wing it. So it's not a wing thing. You're gonna use your game pitch ideas that you've done before. You've used this stuff in the first presentation when you did your game pitch. That's the one I want you to modify for this one. Also, since you're getting feedback, you might as well include some information about what kind of feedback did users give you if you actually completed the feedback. So I'm not going to make that a requirement, but I think it'd be a nice slide to add in. Notes about the presentation, right? This presentation will take the place of your final exam. That means everyone must be present in order for you to do this presentation. And I also want you to attend during your regular time. Last time, we didn't have a chance to go through everyone's presentation. And I know some people have different schedules, like some teams are split between the two sections. I need the teams to be together for this presentation. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a little Google sheet, and I'm going to ask you guys to connect with it and fill it out. Let's just do this now. So we're done. So I'm going to kind of go into my Google Drive here, and I'm going to create a new sheet. So I'm going to kind of say, it's going to be a presentation sign-up sheet that we're going to allow us to do this. Let's just go to my drive. We're going to make a new folder called COMP397 presentations. And inside this one, what we'll do is I'll make a new sheet, so a new Google sheet, right, which we'll call presentation sign up. All right. And what I'm looking for is your group name, right? Your game name. You know, that's the kind of stuff, and maybe a description of, you know, a short description of what the game is about. I'll say short game description here. Short game description. There we go. Let's make this column a little bit more balanced. All right. And maybe add in some background color really quickly with maybe a white font. Maybe a little darker. Let's make it a little darker than that. There we go. And then what I want to do is, this is going to be your sign-up sheet. So let's insert one to the left, and we're going to say order. And we have maybe 15 groups or something like that, I'm guessing. So something like 15 groups. So we're going to make like 20 slots here. Pretty simple. And what I want to do is I want to get you to I get you guys all to sign up for a particular slot. That's nice. Oh, how I miss Excel when I'm dealing with this stuff online. Okay, one more. 20. So yeah, so there's 20 slots. I want the group name in here. Let's make some room for the group name. And then the game name, what's the game about, and a short description of what the game is about, right? So just something like, is it a platformer? Is it a tank game? Whatever. And then what I want you guys to do is sign up. I'm going to make it available to you guys in a second, right? So that way you guys can sign up for the order. And then I want you to present this order. Now, what I want you to do is, it doesn't matter which section you're part of. Right, I just want you all to sign up because I will follow this. If you're in a different section, actually, maybe that's what I should put in here as a group name. We'll put in section. In the beginning, yeah, I'll put that in the beginning. We will call this section. And then it doesn't matter. You can put it on one sheet here. So if you're section 1, you put section 1, the group name. And just sign up, and I'll just go through this in section order. So if I'll sort this later on through sections and go through it, right? But I mean, I really want to know who's going to go first, and I'll give you guys to do this. So this is the sheet. I will share this presentation sheet. There we go. Shareable link. We'll make this so that the shareable link is you guys can edit, right? So there's my shareable link. I'll copy the link. And I'll post this link on Slack. So this will be the first link I'll post, and then I'll post the presentation link afterwards. So this is the hopefully you guys are watching me live. You may, maybe not. Let's see how this goes finally. When Slack finishes opening. We like you, they say. They say that they really like me. All right, and here's this is the presentation sign up link. There we go. Please sign up. Let me turn that off for now. All right, so please sign up for this one. Again, I've given you guys access to do that, so that way you guys can access the presentation and sign up. I want to know who's going to do what for next time. Again, if you don't sign up, I'm just going to pick random people. You guys all have to be ready to do this. So this is sign up sheets. Okay. The other thing is notes for next week. Because this presentation is taking the place of your final exam, everyone must attend, like I said. So if you don't attend and you're part of a team, for whatever reason, right? Unless there's a doctor's note or some special reason that you've okayed with me ahead of time, you will get 0 for your presentation. Even if you're part of it, even if you made it, if you're not there physically, you're going to get 0. Now, because this is taking place at the exam. Now, I don't expect everyone to present. I'm only expecting whoever you choose from your teams to present. So it could be 1 or 2 people. There should be at least 2 people. One person, actually moving the slide deck around, on the computer, and the other person actually doing the presentation at minimum. It would be nice to have other people talk as well, but I'm not going to require it. I'm only expecting this presentation to take between 5 and 7 minutes per group. So again, you're not going to go through a long, drawn-out example of what happened with the, as an example with your game. I don't expect that. I'm looking for a short description of what's going on with your game. What happened, how did you plan things out, and so on, and then a demo of your game. So show us your completed game, how it went, and so on, and then you'll be marked on the game. And then within the next week following that, all your marks will flow in, and you'll know how you stand. Most of you, again, from the stuff I've seen, are okay. There are a couple people who missed the exam. That's pretty crazy. So those people are going to get 0 for those people who missed the midterm. For the rest of them, I think for the most part, I've seen some pretty good progression for most of you guys and for your teams. I've seen last week, I gave you guys some feedback on some of the games that weren't working. Again, you're going to get marked overall for the game, for the sections, for your GitHub, all that stuff. That's going to be due next week, because your final release is due next week, Saturday, as well as your presentation. So that's really how we stand, right? Now, I don't see that there's anybody else that is actually on this presentation sign-up sheet, which means either you're not watching right now or you haven't participated. If you are watching, again, connect with this sheet, see if you can sign your stuff up as a team, right? What section you're in and so on. But more or less, like I said, this is going to be the sign-up sheet that we're going to use for next week. And we're going to do this in sign-up order. Okay, so that's number 1. Now, unfortunately, I don't have anyone that I can ask questions for. But if you're watching the video and you want to ask questions, I'll wait for a few minutes on Slack here, and then you can post your questions and I can answer them before we move on. I'll see if anyone's going to answer. And I don't suppose anyone is. Again, it's a kind of a rainy, kind of icy day, and chances are you guys get a lot of other stuff going on all at the same time. So if you don't answer, it's totally cool. All right. That's it for me for today. What I'll do is, as soon as this video is done, I will post it here on Slack, so you have an opportunity to watch the video. Please watch the video. It's important for you guys to know what's due next week, and that everyone is required to be there. Okay, so again, if you don't show up, if you don't watch your video, I'm also going to post Sunny Centennial. Then again, it's up to you. At the end of the day, this is your course, and remember that next week is the final day of classes. Okay. Thanks so much, and that's it for me for today. And then I'm hoping to see you guys all next week, where you'll have a chance to show off the game that you've made pretty much all semester. All right, take care.